Hello there, it's Diorama Don here. This is a slightly different project to what I normally do. I normally make 1/35 scale dioramas, but this is a Dutch windmill, which are huge things. So 1/35 scale would be just too big to make. So I've scaled it right down. It all works. Got the windmill turning and the top turns as well. So all the instructions on how I went about making it are in the forthcoming video. Please subscribe to the channel before I forget. Click that like button, click that subscribe button. You will be informed when new videos come along. It's my heritage. I am half Dutch. I've made a Dutch house and Dutch diorama, so it only makes sense to make a Dutch windmill. Okay, so let's get on with the video and I'll show you how I went about making it. Okay, let's make a start then. We need a piece of cardboard. We need it to be 13 inches square, which is 33 centimeters. So 13 by 13. I'm using 2mm card. You could use thinner. 1mm would be okay. 2mm is probably better. So if you can buy a sheet like this, all well and good. If not, then cereal packet cardboard. It's a bit thin, but if you stick a couple of pieces together, that will give you your thickness that you need. So we've got our cardboard. What we need to do is find the center. So from diagonal to diagonal will give you the center of the card. Then with a pair of compasses, we need to set the compasses to 2 1/4 inches or 53 millimeters. Okay, so from there then draw a circle then with your compasses. Then mark anywhere on that circle and then strike an arc 6 times all the way around the circle, and it miraculously works out at exactly 6 times. If you keep the compasses at 2 1/4, it will mark out 6 times. Then what you need to do is connect those marks that you've made on the circle. Like that, 6 times, so that you've got a hexagon. Oh, it's a bit wet. So you've got a hexagon like that. Okay. So halfway along one of the sides, from there to there, is going to be 2 1/4 inches or 58 millimeters. Measure halfway, so that's 2 1/8. And do the same on the other side. Oh, these two. So measure halfway and find the center point there, and the same on that side. And then through the center of your circle and line up those 2 marks that you've just made and draw a line like that. And you need to do that 3 times. There and there. Okay, then on this line measure 4 1/4 inches. 1 2 3 4 1/4, like so. It would be easier if I did this. 1 2 3 4 1/4. 1 2 3 4 1/4, there, like that. Okay, so we've got that now. So 4 1/4, which is 108 millimeters. So from that point there out to there is 108 millimeters, 4 1/4. On that, no, we're not drawing the line long enough. Where those 2 lines cross, we need that to be 1 1/4 inches. wide, so 5/8 either side of that line. It's difficult to do over the top of a camera. It's so difficult that I've marked it out wrong. 5/8 of an inch. Ooh, where is it? Yeah, that's okay. So 5/8, 5/8, and then join the pieces up from there to there and there to there. So you've got that shape. Okay, so 1.25 inches, 2.25 inches, 4.25 inches. And you need to do that 6 times all around the hexagon. Okay, we're almost ready for cutting this out. But rather than this being a straight line, we just need a bit of a curve on there. So if we measure about 1/8 of it, around about halfway along that line, make a mark in about 1/8 of an inch, no more than that. So you've got a mark there, 1/8 of an inch in there, or 3 millimeters. Then it's going to be easier to do this freehand as long as you're careful. So when you cut from there to there, instead of it being a straight line or 2 straight lines, we need to make a bit of a curve like that. If we marked it out, the size of the radius would be like 2 meters. It would be enormous. It's a huge arc that will be from there to there. So if we can do it freehand with a very sharp box cutter, then just ease that round into just a slight curve like that. Okay, I'll finish marking this out and cut it out, and you'll see more what I mean. Anyway, cut those 6 pieces out, and then along these lines of the hexagon, just score. So cut only halfway through, because we're going to bend those rather than cut through. So these lines are scored, and these slight curve on this line, straight line. Okay, I'll cut everything out and I'll show you what I mean. So when it's cut out, you should have something looking a little like this. Because you're scored along these lines, these should bend quite easily upwards like that. For each of the arms, slowly ease a slight curve on each of these arms like that. So it's sort of like an open orange peel, if you like. So just a slight curve like that. So when you turn it over and you bring those 2 up like that, it's going to give that curved shape like that. I know some Dutch windmills are straight. They're straight up like that, but most just have that curve like that. So when you bring these up, it'll give that proper windmill shape. Okay, that's because you've cut that slight curve along that line. Remember, 1/8 of an inch in from that line, and we've just cut that. And it's quite easy to do freehand. If you've got a really sharp knife, it's easy to cut those slight curves like that. Okay, so before we glue it all together, we need some windows. So you can have whatever size windows you want, but I've made them so there's one there and one down there, and then one up there again, and then one down, one up, one down, one up, one down, just to give it a bit of variation. So I've cut them, I think, in 3/4 of an inch by I don't know. You can see the size. You can see the size that you need to cut a window out there. So one at the top there, and then one down there. One up, one down, one up, one down. So cut those out and glue. Best to use a hot melt glue. You could perhaps even just tack a piece of glue there and then bend the card and glue it. Let that set and then finish off at the top like that. So it'll give you that shape. Okay, so I'll cut my windows out and glue all my sides together, and we'll go on to the next part. So now you should have something looking like this. We've got the right shape now of that bend in the wall. I cut the windows out. I just stuck a little bit of net curtain, just cut up an old net curtain to put behind there. You could put a piece of see-through packaging that would act as a window if you like, but I just went for net curtain, which the Dutch like. Okay, I'll put a frame around there, but that's for a little later. So glued all the parts together. I did that where I glued the lower part, let that set, and then did the upper part, which was a lot easier to do. So there we are, we've got that bit. So now we've done that with the hexagon, we need another hexagon, we need one more. This time the diameter is 2 inches. So set your compasses to 2 inches or 50 millimeters and do the same thing, make a hexagon, mark off 6 times all the way around the circle. That will give you your hexagon, and then all you need is 1.5 inches out from each segment, or 38 millimeters. So just come down 38 millimeters. Okay, and it's just a square cut. So we don't need to do any curved cuts or anything. It's just a straight 1.5 inches out from each segment. Yes, and then we need a door. So just cut a doorway in one of the segments, and again glue all that up. So glue those together. It's going to be a lot easier to do this one, and then that will sit on there. Okay, so that will be the bottom part, the middle part. All we need then is the top part and the sails. So we're getting there. So I'll glue this up and I'll come back and we'll work out how to do the top, which is not easy. Okay, so now that's the shape we should have now. We've got our base with our front door on there and the middle section on there like so. We'll glue that on a bit later. Now we need to do the top bit. The distance between points on this hexagon is 2 3/4. So we need a piece of card 2 3/4 diameter, which is 72 millimeters. So set your compasses to 1 3/8 inches or 36 millimeters, and we need a piece of card that diameter. Okay, so that will sit on there quite nicely. Then in the middle we need another circle. Doesn't really matter what it is. I've made it 1.5 inches diameter. Okay, so cut the hole in the middle 1.5 inches diameter, but what you cut out, keep. So that was in there like so. When you've cut it out, just give it a sanding with a bit of sandpaper all the way around the edge, so that it moves quite freely in its old place, like so. All right, and then we need a couple of notches either side, like that, and then we need a piece of lollipop stick. I've just cut a lollipop stick up that fits into those notches like that, so the same width and then the same length, so it fits in like that. All right, and then on the ends of that, just cut a chamfer, so it from about ½ an inch in, cut down to almost nothing, so you cut a chamfer on there. So when you stick that that way round, is it? Don't know now. No, that way round. So with the chamfer pointing up, you've got the chamfer on the top like that. That will stick on there in the middle. Okay. And then when that fits in the circle, it will sit in the chamfer. Sorry, it will sit in the circle, and you'll be able you'll be able to turn it round. Honestly, you will do. It's difficult to do when it's like this, but when it's all glued up, you'll be able to turn that inner circle around. Okay, so that's what we want a windmill to do. We need the top to turn. Okay, so we'll leave that to one side for the moment. So when that's stuck on there, this bit will stick on top of that, so this part will actually turn around. So this is the shape that we need for the top. We need an 1 5/8" radius circle, or 42 millimeters. Okay, 1 5/8" radius to 3 1/4 diameter, and then measure from the edge of the circle ½ an inch, or 12 millimeters, and then we need a front 2 inches long, or 50 millimeters. So that's basically the shape of what we need. Okay, so I'll cut this out, all right, and fix that on there, and then that top should turn around. Okay, I'll do that and I'll come back. So I've stuck the circle with the notches on top of the middle section there, and cut my shape out there, the 2 and 3 1/4 inch diameter shape at the top there, 2 inches across there, 50 millimeters. I put the circle that I cut out the middle, stuck that into the middle of this section here with my lollipop stick stuck across there. So because I've chamfered that edge down there, this will now hopefully, where is it? Oh, come on. That's it. Sit into that those grooves, and I can turn this around quite easily. It will turn without any problem. Okay. So now we've got a turning top. Now what we need is a bit on the front there. So we need a piece of card 2 inches square, or 50 millimeters square, 3/4 of an inch or 18 millimeters. Score a line, don't cut through, just score. And then at the top there, draw a circle from halfway along to the top of the card. Draw an arc there, but we don't want a full arc. We want to come down there a bit, sort of straighten the edge there a bit, if you see what I mean. Okay, so I'll cut that out, score that, and then we'll do the difficult part. So I've cut the front out. Although I'd made a circle with a pair of compasses, I straightened these lines a little, just to give it that shape. Rather than it be a complete circle, just straighten up these. So we've got a little bit of a straight line at the top as well. Okay, and then I've scored along there so we can slightly bend that like so. When this is on the front, the sails will be fixed to this section. So as we put that on the front, if we put a sail on there now, it's going to hit on the bottom of our base there. So it's going to need to sit back just a fraction. Okay, so it's going to be a slight angle there, and then the slight angle again on this top part. So we need a piece of card that will reflect that shape. Okay, so that will sit in there like that, and that will give it the shape that we need. And then at the back, there's a straight line along there, and again, rather than a full radius, it's a kind of, not a straight line, but just a bit of a a bit of a bended line from that straight area down to the end there. Okay, it's difficult to make a shape like that with compasses. I suppose you could do, but it all gets very, very complicated. But that kind of shape anyway. All right, because the top is an extremely weird shape on top of those windmills. So I can glue that in place like that. That will be in the middle like that, and it will look like that when that's cut, and that will give us the shape of the front. When we've got that, then we need to put fins either side, as many fins as you like. I've only got 4. You could put more than that if you like, but start off with a straight line at the top, and again just go down a certain bended line down to the edge. So each fin will be a different shape, in fact. So this will be a short one, very short one there, going down to the edge, and so on. So you'll need to put pieces of card like so, and then just sort of measure down, well, like that. It's the only way I can explain it, by showing you. So we're going to end up with something looking like that. That's basically the shape that we need at the top. I did say it was a bit weird, but there we are. That's what we need. Okay, so I'll do that with this one, and then we'll do the next stage. Okay, so I'll put the fins on now. So that's basically the shape that we need. So what we're going to have to do now is a dish with some PVA glue, and add some water to it. Tear up some pieces of newspaper. This is old-fashioned papier-mache. I think it's the only way really to get this shape. And once it's soaked in that water and PVA glue, then just keep putting layers of this all over this shape. I'm making it sound easy. It's probably not. So anyway, I'll do that. Doesn't matter if you go beyond the bottom there. You can always cut it off with scissors when it's dry, or with a knife. So just cover the whole area with papier-mâché and let it dry. It will dry very hard. Don't worry about that. And then we can paint it, and you will never know that it's pieces of newspaper. But we will have that right shape. Okay, I'll go ahead and do that, and leave it to dry overnight, and we'll see what it looks like. So I finished the top. The newspaper wasn't that successful, so I just used toilet tissue. Just a piece like that, folded in half, and then dipped into a solution of PVA glue and water, like that. Just let it drip off and then put that over and then shape it round. So that's how I did that. It still needs to dry a little more. It takes a long time to dry. But anyway, we've got basically the right shape that we need anyway. So put that to one side. While we're waiting for that to dry, I can make my sails. So I've cut two pieces 10 inches long by 3/8 of an inch wide, or 26 centimeters by 9 millimeters. So when they're crossed like that, then I can put my sails. So I've cut 4 pieces of, well, there seems to be some dispute as to what this stuff is called. For me, this is chicken wire. It's called chicken wire because it's what you put round your chickens so they don't get away. I don't have any chickens, but I do buy this. It cost me $1 or less than £1 for a square metre of the stuff, and that lasts, well, a year. I use it from time to time. I make barbed wire with it for my dioramas, but it's, what the hell's happened here? That's it. So anyway, I've got 4 pieces of chicken wire, or, as somebody pointed out, industrial cloth or welded wire mesh. Okay, have we got that? Buy it from your local DIY store. So I like the idea of welded wire mesh, which is what it is. So anyway, you need 4 pieces of that, and then 4. I've only bought 2 in. Doesn't matter. So when these are crossed like so, then I'll lay. Can't see. I'll lay my wire, welded wire mesh, like, oh, come on, like that, and then put another piece of card on top. So you'd stick that on there with the hot melt glue, and then put another piece on the top, and that will make your sail. Can you see that? Yeah. Okay, if you look at pictures of Dutch windmills, it looks just like this stuff. So do that on all 4 edges, and that will make your sail. And then we've got to figure out a way of fixing it then to our top. So I'll go ahead, do that, and I'll come back. Okay, so put the sails together and put my chicken wire or welded wire mesh. On the front, I'll just show you what I did. I've got a nut and bolt, and just drilled a hole through a popsicle stick, lollipop stick, and stuck it to the back, so that all I have to do is push my sails on and do the nut up. There we are. So now we have a windmill. Now and obviously that will sit on top there, like so. Now you could leave it like that if you like. That would be fine. Just paint it. But what I did was to carry on and make the capstan wheel at the back, which they used to turn to actually turn the mill around. So it's just pieces of cardboard sticking out the side and barbecue sticks coming down. So it's pretty self-explanatory. I don't want to make this video much longer than it is already, but just by looking at that, I think you can see what it entails, and it's not necessary actually to put that on. It looks okay without. So what I shall do is I'll fill in where we've scored the card. It sort of opens the card out a bit, so I'll fill those pieces in with filler, and then give it a coat of the same wall filler with a little bit of water added, just to give it an undercoat, because cardboard doesn't like being painted. It sort of soaks it in rather too much. So with an undercoat, or key if you like, of wall filler, that will give you the base then to colour whatever you want to do. So I'll go ahead and completely finish it off now. That's all the makings of it. So I'll finish it off, and I'll come back and show you the finished diorama. Okay, so I finished off the windmill. I put some card around the window frames and a bit of a window sill as well in all of the windows. So I painted those green with a front door. I don't know if you can see that. The front door there. Just another piece of card stuck behind there, and 4 thinner pieces of card to make up the panels of the door. Painted the sails black and the back black. I just put a coat of grey grout, tile grout, stuff you use for putting between the tiles. I just put a coat of that on for the outside, and the same for the bottom, but a brick coloured grout there. I would normally weather something like that with this with a black wash, but I don't think it's necessary. So I've just made a very simple diorama base for it. A bit of grass going around a sandy circle. So there we are, my version of a Dutch windmill, and it was a pleasure to make. It was slightly different to the kind of thing that I normally do, but it was interesting to make. So if you would like to have a go yourself, please by all means do. Let me know how you get on. An interesting project to do, maybe a school project even. So I'll leave it with you. Thank you very much for watching the video. Please subscribe to the channel. Click that like button and click subscribe, and you'll be informed when new videos come along. There are 120 videos to watch at the moment. So I wish you all the very best of happy modelling.